No, 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 it's gonna, no, but it's gonna, we're gonna open it now, 6:30. But, everyone will be.
If the phone has changed, what kind of the last name?
Please run the same phone. Just come in here, there's steps on the other side. Right. It's too low. It's too low for her, I remember, yeah. How about up there? How about up there? Yeah. Or you can sit here.
Very well. How you doing, my friend?
All right, folks on Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we are running behind schedule. I apologize for that. We're waiting some members to come. We're going to be a very nimble team tonight. So if you're here for the public session or you're part of a group who wants to speak tonight, please enter your name in the chat. We are going to take a note of you and get started in about 4 minutes. We are aiming for a very short meeting tonight. So give me 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and maybe I can promise that. Let me just talk to some folks who are here in person and we'll get started, like I said, in about 4 minutes. Thank you tonight. I see Robert Jackson here. Thank you, Senator. All right, Jennifer, I got you. All right. Let me take a note and I got y'all. 2 minutes. Okay, Zoom, can you hear us okay? All right, excellent. Thank you so much for the confirmations. I appreciate it. We apologize for the delay tonight. We are a small and nimble group in person. That is the fact of the holiday season. I see Wayne is also traveling this evening. Don't know what's in what corner of the world, but I missed that. So welcome to Community Board 12's final general meeting of the year. This is again the meeting where we vote on our items that are before us. For folks who may not have seen online, we have a very short agenda tonight, meaning that we're only voting on licensing, SLA licensing items that are before us. We have a portion that is devoted to our elected officials or for their representatives, our public session, and of course, our annual nominee elections. Thank you, Jim. All right, so I do not have a quorum in person to call to order or to adopt the agenda. Given the delays tonight, I am going to pass the mic to a voice that we have not heard of in a few weeks, and that is our district manager, Ebenezer Smith. So I will turn to him and then I will give my report. So go ahead, Ebenezer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Always is a pleasure being here as your district manager and give my report. The first item is that I am very happy to report that Paola Garcia, our staff, is back. She was out a few months due to a knee surgery. You remember I made a part of my report before she left while she was out. So Paola, welcome back. You were missed and very happy that you're here helping us making this meeting to happen. Also, I want to thanks to our chairperson, Ms. Catherine Diaz, and also our first vice chair, Simati Hernandez, and all other board members who stepped to the plate last month while I was on vacation and made the meetings to happen. While Paola was not here, I am not here. So I don't know. The thing I didn't hear any complaints. I think the meeting went well. Probably district manager and staff is not needed. I don't know, just kidding. But I'm happy to be back. Also, you can notice that we have a new logo, a new stationery. It has been the result of several months of trial, and we hire a consultant who helped us for several months to shape in the model that we have as a new logo, new letterhead, new everything. You see the emails shape that went out with a new format. So that was the idea of our chairperson, and we worked together for a few months, and we start to implement it now in December. Looking forward to improve in the months to come. Very happy to report also that the police department reported last month at the district service cabinet meeting that they launch one day removing all the abandoned vehicles in the district. I was a witness of that operation. It was in the middle of November. One morning I came and I saw a lot of tow trucks removing vans and vehicles that were abandoned. I will continue to ask the board members and the community to report to us any abandoned vehicle that you see in your blocks. By abandoned vehicles, we can say vehicle that doesn't have a license plate and is in the same place all the time for many weeks. Also vehicles that even though have a license plate, they don't move it around. You can see they have a lot of dust, so maybe the wheels are deflated. So that is considered an abandoned vehicle. Please report it to 311 if you will. But the most important thing is that you give me the location so I can continue working with this police department to remove these abandoned vehicles from our district. And finally, our calendar. I have a draft. We haven't sent it out, but we have a physical draft here. And I want to call the attention of the committee chairs that are here in the room. Please take a look to the date and time of your committee for January 2024. And also on the back of the calendar, take a look to see the agenda items that I have placed. So many of them that is to be determined. And let me know if any correction need to be made regarding the January 2024 calendar. This is the end of my report. Is there any question? Any question in here in the room? I don't see any questions in the Zoom meeting. So with that said, yes, I see a question here. Yes.
They had it yesterday, so.
Yes. Okay. No, thank you for letting me know. Yes, but I think you're right about it. You're right about it. I'm gonna make the correction on the calendar. Thank you very much. Is there any other question or observation? Okay, I don't see any other questions. That said, I want to wish everyone, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays to everyone from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
All right. See let me just make sure it's not board members who have a. Oh. Mariel, is that better for folks who are on Zoom? Can you capture that? Can I get some either head nods, thumbs up? All right, there we go. There we go. That's the energy I need. All right. So, I mean, this is the last meeting of the year 2023. This was our first year in hybrid. So a big round of applause for all of us who have kind of like coped with that transition. Fingers up. A lot of us started on Zoom, right? And so being able to meet each other, understand what the board does in person was really big. And while next month I'll probably send something out written, because I know there's not a lot of us are traveling. I did just kind of like want to think about and talk about the year at a glance. So back in January, the elected members of the board met and we had kind of like a mini retreat, if you will. Sorry, I'm short, y'all. So I know you can't see me. And we talked about 5 things. Is it 5? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 things. 4 things that we really wanted to shift, 4 things that we felt that were our responsibility to really work on and improve. 1 was our meeting procedures, our member experience, our stakeholder engagement, and staff experience and coordination. And one of the things that we're really, really proud of is this: in the last year, the majority of our meetings have averaged 3 hours or less. So for folks who know community boards, know our community board in particular, that's a really big benchmark. And something that we really stuck across, not just at our general meeting, but across all of our committee meetings. Sometimes they're less than 2 hours, and that's great. But on average, to say 3 hours or less, I think is really quite huge. Another thing is in being able to create tools that really support an effective meeting, right? And so on the back end, that looks like a run of show, dispersed roles, right? So for folks who kind of like to geek out about production, right? We have different people who take on different functions, and making sure that part of that means that we actually run an equitable meeting participation, right? Where we're able to hear different voices, where we're able to hear from more voices than we usually can. Part of our member experience included being able to have increased input from our members. So not just how we run our meetings, but being able to have more one-on-ones about the topics that we care about, right? We have a lot of new members who are new to community boards. And so being able to have more one-on-ones and where they're able to discuss the topics that they care about. How does that look in the community board? How do we get that on the agenda? How do we get that out to the public has been really important for us. Next month, in terms of our member experience, and a major shout out to my thought partner and co-partner on this, which is Jacob Banas, is an annual member survey. Believe it or not, there has yet to be a community board member survey. Don't know how, but I'm really excited that maybe we get to kind of pilot that for the city. And so being able to have a confidential platform where, just like at your workplace, right, you're able to give feedback in a safe space, in a safe way, where this is what I like, what I don't like, what I want to see, where I'm at, where I'm thinking. And that's going to launch next month. I'm really, really grateful for Jacob's support on this and being able to launch it. It's going to be about 30 days where board members are able to give their feedback, and that can create constructive feedback for our committee chairs, for the board business, for the board vision for the next year. And in terms of stakeholder engagement, 3 things that I'm really, really proud of is that we were able to create, and while it's still out there for the public, if you didn't know, an extra staff line. Community boards, if you don't know, are incredibly short-staffed, incredibly underfunded for the work that we're supposed to do. And so to be able to add a part-time staff member who is devoted entirely to community outreach can really change the game. And it's not to press the burden of the world on a part-time person, but the ability to assist in the initiatives that we really care about, that we really want to shift the needle on, is a huge accomplishment, and something I think that is incredibly unique and that we can lead on, as well as the fact that we've been able to host a lot of our quarterly activities, and something that we're going to continue to do next year. So if you haven't heard, or if you're new on the Zoom, we've been moving up through Broadway. A lot of us see Broadway as that line, right? Some of us, like me, grew up on Audubon, never was on Fort Washington. Some folks have always been on Fort Washington, never been on Audubon. And so to be able to move across Broadway with activities that can really bridge our community, that can improve and increase the awareness of community boards, because most people don't know what they are, have been incredible for some of us who were at Chelas, at North End, with folks who are just like, I want to know what's going in my community. And we've just met so many people. So we're really, really excited to launch that. I guess it's a little bit of a sneak peek, but we will be on 215 and Broadway next month in the new year to restart that series, and improve our stakeholder engagement. Community boards deal with the most pivotal topics, right? We have the city of Yes before us. We have, of course, our SLA licenses. We have so many projects around our parks, and most people don't know we exist. And so we definitely are not alone in the responsibility in that, but we do have a part to play there. So being able to increase the awareness of it is incredibly important. And last but not least is our staff experience and coordination. It's been a pleasure, an incredibly reward back working alongside Ebenezer, Paola, and Chanel, who of course left in October, and really learning about the folks who hold down the day-to-day and what the day-to-day looks like when you have a fraction of the resources that you need. So a huge round of applause for the work that they do day in and day out. I am been so humbled to support the work that you do and really advocate with them in terms of the resources as city employees that they deserve to have to improve the services in our district. So thank you, Ebenezer. Part of that has been a lot of the technical and more operational resources that they need, right? Whether that's like a SharePoint, whether that's an Airtable, and just technology that can really streamline the office operations that they don't necessarily have easy access to. So that's been a really fun for me personally. So thank you for supporting me on that. And that's just real quick, a year at a glance. I know that was a lot. I will be sharing that written for folks, and we'll share that also publicly, because I think it's really important to think about where we've come from this year. So thank you. I don't know if there's any questions. I see a hand from Mariel. Oh, let me see. And Keisha's here. All right, it's real quiet in person, so there's no questions here. Any questions on Zoom? All right, Mary, go ahead.
Thanks, Kathy. No, I just wanted to say for the record, I really commend your and the team's leadership.
Marielle, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's what looks like I'm.
Can
Oh,
folks
maybe
on
it's.
Zoom hear her?
Yes, they can hear me on Zoom.
They're nodding. All right, we can't hear her.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. It's fine. It was just to say a big thank you to you and the team for
Jim,
everything.
do you mind unmuting and saying something?
Can you hear me?
No, okay, we can't hear Jim. That is confirmation.
I can hear Jim.
Yeah, the Zoom people can hear, but the people in the auditorium can't. I think that's the issue.
Maybe the volume.
All right, that's the local speaker, not the big speaker, but we'll take that. Mario, can you go ahead?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ah, okay, there we go. Not necessarily a question, just more so a kind of a well done to the executive team of this year. I think you've all done a really fantastic job of kind of putting kind of streamlining things, and so just wanted to just extend my thank you and a congratulations. It's really been a pleasure working with all of you this year. Look forward to continuing next year as well.
Likewise. Thank you, Mario. And of course, our branding, did not get to talk about that. I know I've talked about it in the last few months, but I think it's incredibly, incredibly important as we think about, how do we improve our stakeholder engagement if we don't have something that is visually compelling, enticing, that really brings attention to what we do. It's really difficult to get our message out there. So to be able to have something, as Ebenezer spoke to, that can really be attractive and speak more to the mission that we have is incredibly important. So we're really excited to be able to continue to scale that up in the next year. All right, so I am going to be quiet and pass it on to our elected officials and their representatives. I saw Robert here really on and early and camera on. So Robert, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. If you can hear me, just raise your hand. So go quickly. I attended a press conference about 2 weeks ago on class size reductions in New York City. And under the current law, New York City must reduce class sizes over the next 5 years. Mike Mulgrew was there. He spoke at a conference that basically said UFT did a survey of the number of students in classes that were higher than what was required by law, and over 300,000 students are in classrooms that are higher than projected to be. And then also, I joined colleagues to support the New York reparations bill, and as a caucus member and as a member of the New York State Black Legislative Task Force. We were pushing the governor to sign into law as far as the Reparations Commission. And you heard on the news, she signed it into law today with many of my colleagues present. And so I'm waiting now to see the commission come together and put a report of recommendations regarding reparations against slavery that occurred in New York State and the negative impact on Blacks over basically several generations, including up to now. And then also, my office continues to review requests for capital funding that costs at least $50,000. And every week in our e-update, I put that in there. So anyone can put in a request. It can be sent to jackson@nysenate.gov. Then also, people have, if you've seen the A train station at 181st Street, the MTA did enhancements, new elevators, vibrant artwork, and thanks to the MTA and their commitment, it looks great. But obviously, some people ask me, what are your issues and concerns? And the primary issue for me is the safety and security of the people that I represent is primary. And then you talk about affordability of housing, because most people that come into my office and sitting down, we're doing intakes on all of them, have to do with housing and affordability of housing and senior housing. But then also you're dealing with comprehensive health care for all in New York State. And that's a long-term one in which Gustavo Rivera, who chairs the health committee, has been trying to move forward on that. Obviously, big health industries are not in favor of it. A couple of unions are not in favor of it because they feel that it may reduce some of the benefits that they have, but that is being worked out. And I hope that this term of office over the next 2 years, the next year is the last of one term. Hopefully we'll be able to pass it. And if not, the struggle continues. But my last comment is that we must be able to push back on proposed budget cuts that will have a negative impact on the lives of the people in our district in the city of New York. I don't necessarily believe all of the numbers. And in fact, previous articles basically said where we were going to be in the red, I'm sorry, by several billions of dollars, and wind up by the end of the fiscal year of the city of New York, we were in the black, not in the red. So time will tell, but let's push back on reductions to schools, reductions in sanitation, fire department, and law enforcement, knowing that the most important thing is safety and security. Thank you, and I appreciate all of you, and I want to wish everyone a happy holidays and enjoy yourselves and come back safe next January, ready to continue to struggle in handling Community Board 12 business.
Thank you so much, Robert, for joining us tonight. It's been great to see you.
Thank you.
I don't see any hands. I see also Keisha on behalf of Manhattan Borough President, or was here. All right, she was here. All right. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on to our public session. I think for electeds, we only have Keisha on tonight. I don't see anybody else in person. No. All right, I don't see anybody else in person. So we're gonna go to our public session member signups in person, and then we'll go to Zoom. And if Keisha rejoins or another elected, then we'll shift to them. Okay. So in person, I have the list. I know we have Cheryl, we have Ryan, and then we have one add-on. So Cheryl, you're first. We have quorum. All right, we have quorum, so we got business tonight. Great. Okay. Okay. Le voy a dar some 2 minutes. Let me use my phone. You don't have to send your name, don't worry. All right. All right. So public session is 2 minutes. And when you get on the mic, you can say something, okay? I'll let him go and then is that okay? You can put your bag down if you want. The mic is all yours. Hold on, yeah. Y nada más para clarificar.
No, está bien.
¿Puedo empezar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ramon Luna. I'm the new owner of Grand Luna Restaurant Corp. The store is located in 565 West 207th Street in Manhattan. I came here for apply for the liquor license. I have a lot of experience in hospitality industry. I come here to you to looking for your support. I'm a person that I have a lot of years running restaurants and hotels, and my dream is to get my own restaurant. This is a small opportunity that I have, and I come here to get your support for get the liquor licensing. I can say that I make sure that I do the good things for the community. I can support the community. I have an education because I degree in hospitality industry in Dominican Republic. So I am open to any things out the neighborhood I can support and I can hear it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and again, this is with Grand Luna Corp. I don't have the number in front of me, but they are on our item 14, number 14 tonight. All right, next up, we have Cheryl Palom, is it? Pam, sorry, from Inwood Legal Counsel. I got that wrong? Inwood Legal Action, my fault. Look at that. All right, go ahead.
So, hi, everybody. I'm from Inwood Legal Action. My name is Cheryl Pam, and I'm just here to tell you about some trainings and education on local law 78 of 2021 that will be available in 2024. The law basically is a disclosure requirement that gives communities information that they need to help them form opinions about proposed development in their community, or if they want to do community planning, they want to do any kind of research or outreach, there's information provided in a database that's maintained by the city called the Equitable Development Data Explorer. And there's also a displacement risk index, which is a map that measures the risk of displacement at they call it the neighborhood tabulation area level, and that's like the sub-community district level. So you can see whether you live in a community that's at high risk of displacement, medium, or low, and you can download all of this data about income. For example, you won't have to calculate how many households are below 30% of AMI. It's all done for you by the city using census data, administrative data. So it's a very rich tool. And we'd like to start educating people on how to use it. We were a part of getting the law passed. It was came out of our fight against the inward rezoning. And I have these posters that were prepared for us by the Center for Urban Pedagogy that basically explain how the law works. They're going to be available in Spanish in 2024, and we're going to start doing outreach. So I will come around with a piece of paper. If you're interested in us presenting to your group or coming to your tenants association or whatever, we can do that and show you how to take advantage of these resources provided by the law. Okay, thank you.
All right. Huh? Oh, my phone. I got a few devices. All right, next up, we got Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah. First off, I want to thank the community. I just want, my name is Ryan Desso. I'm a local artist. I want to start out by saying that I am homeless currently, and I have been for 7 years now. This is not about me, so I don't want to focus on me. But I would then want to know that, you know, this is a weakness of mine, and it is wrong, but that ultimately I do still care about our community. I know that I wouldn't have enough time tonight, but my basic overview is just to kind of I have a bunch of designs. So I've been unemployed since I've been homeless, but I still have a lot of data and designs that I've developed, but I know that these aren't my designs. These are our designs. So my goal is to at least just to give like a heads up, and then to compile these notes this month and to give like visuals, and then away next month to at least have this 2 minutes to then kind of present these basic, you know, concepts of these designs. And then to email it to Ebenezer and then anyone at the office to then, you know, these are our designs, they're your designs. So then we could kind of come together, people could then add to these designs, and then somehow we could consolidate and see what kind of depth and data and development of programming that we could, you know, come together as a community board to then use as, like she said earlier, potentially a pilot or a model for the rest of the city to use some of these designs, but ultimately to make us, you know, better community and show that we uptown have a lot of, you know, like content, not just from the neighborhoods in itself, but actually the people. So like I said, I would just want you to know that it is not about me, it's about us. If you do Google my name, it's RYANDSSO. It doesn't make me look so good. It looks like there's a fire. I put that fire out. I'm a man of my word, and you know, I would only want you to understand that I wouldn't fabricate anything or try to sugarcoat things or dog and pony show. So I truly am homeless. I don't get, you know, food stamps or anything about like this nature, and I'm an Iraq combat veteran and a father, but I do know that I'm not going to quit. So being homeless is wrong, and I do agree, but we have a duty as a nation to develop, you know, programming that can put our people in spots of purpose to identify our citizens and residents, so we will not be homeless, because America is not going to have a homeless future, but America is going to live forever. We have a future, and we, the people right in this room, are a big part of it. So thank you very much for, you know, bearing with me as a person, as a homeless person, but I appreciate your respect, and I know very much so that I respect all of you. So thank you very much.
This is fun. All right, thank you. All right, so we have Ryan, we have Cheryl. I cannot make out this. Okay, the liquor license for Grand Luna. All right, was there anybody on the Zoom who I did not catch? Okay, I don't see, and then I know Eric, I don't see Keisha yet. If it's okay with you, what we're gonna do is go on to Leo with our elections. Unless you could flash your hand up, Eric. That should take about what, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
20.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Oh, wait, I don't got one. All right. All right, so we're gonna move on from public's. Wait, hold on. All right, Jennifer, you're right. I missed you. I'm so sorry I allowed you. All right, we're gonna hear from Jennifer for 2 minutes, then elections if we don't have Keisha from MBPO. So Jennifer, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, excellent. Go on ahead.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say, you know, thank you for all the good work you do. And also to say I'm representing people who live at 790 Riverside and also 779 Riverside and 800 Riverside and other buildings in this area who are disturbed by a bus announcement on the BX6 in both directions saying caution, buses turning. It woke me up at 1 this morning, and it will not stop. We did stop it in 2019, but it came back this fall, and we have been doing everything we can to get ourselves to the attention of the MTA. Somehow it worked in 2019. Somebody came and looked at the area, realized it's kind of a canyon on 157th where all the sound gets magnified. I live on the 11th floor, and I'm woken up even in the cold weather with the windows shut at 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. and whatever. So want to call the board's attention to this. We are trying every route we can, but it's been going on for months. So any help you can give us would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, for alerting us to us. Oh, and we got Keisha. All right. Leo, if you don't mind holding on for a second, we're gonna go on to Keisha and then we'll probably keep following the agenda. Oh, do you need a minute, Keisha? All right, it's gonna be 15 though. We have our elections tonight. All right. Wait, what?
She's on mute.
Sorry, I apologize. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you okay to go now or do you need 15?
Yep, no, I'm ready.
All right, go on ahead. We see you and hear you.
First of all, I apologize that I've been having a hard time getting on. As are all of us, busy, jumping around the island, doing things. I'm actually a little further down the island right now at a wonderful workforce development graduation that I just experienced. It was fantastic. But to my report, first of all, our around holidays, our office held numerous events through the Thanksgiving season, distributing hundreds of turkeys and over 10,000 pounds of produce and groceries at community centers, schools, NYCHA developments, and et cetera, across the borough. For those of you who want to join us in future events and helping with our volunteer corps, which is how we were able to do so much that we were able to do, please come and sign up for the MBPO volunteer corps on our website. With regard to CB12 specifically, we had the youth, attended the Fresh Youth Initiatives gift wrapping event, the Cabrini Immigration Center holiday event for families, as well as the Fort Washington Collegiate Church, Washington Heights, 181st Street bid, tree lighting and toy giveaway. So we've been covering a lot of ground through this holiday season. Wanted to lift up the Manhattan Borough President's Office Leadership Training Series. I want to thank everyone who was able to join us during the leadership training series. We really appreciate the dedication and participation. For those who are interested in viewing the sessions or who need to complete the required conflict of interest or EEO, or combating implicit bias trainings, we are sharing them on the Manhattan Borough President's YouTube channel, and a message will go out to all the district managers as well as the chairs with the links to share out. So there's an opportunity for you to do those that will be coming up shortly. Moving quickly on to capital information sessions. We had 2 sessions over the last couple of weeks around the capital budget season and in fiscal year 25 applications. Those 2 sessions should be up on our up on our website also, on the website as well as the YouTube channel, I believe. One was held on December 7th, and that was focused on not-for-profit organizations. The other one was held on the 14th, and that was focused on schools. So those sessions, our budget season is opening very shortly in the next couple of weeks. You can go onto the website and see what was on the application in prior years to get a sense of what to expect. But also please check out the videos so that you can help prepare yourselves for the capital budget season, which is upon us. Quickly, again, the last week we held our first open hearing. And that was around the open meetings law. There were so many community members who came out and gave testimony, community members and leaders who gave testimony. As you know, the open meetings law is set to expire on July 1st, 2024. So ahead of that statute expiring, we held this open hearing in order to hear from community members what they liked, what didn't like, what would be helpful, what is not helping at all. And so we thank all of you for participating in that hearing. Moving on really quickly, and to very importantly, finally, is today, I wanted to lift up the fact that the Borough President's Office today, the Borough President, Mark Levine, released a plan to it's called Break the Cycle. And it is a plan to address New York City's behavioral health crisis by doing a few things, expanding the number of long-term psychiatric beds that are available, developing initiatives to address the severe shortage of clinical staff in behavioral health facilities. It includes concrete steps to develop more supportive housing, expansion of community-based and peer-led programs, doubling on the intensive mobile treatment teams for street outreach, and giving EMS workers the ability to provide opioid withdrawal treatment medication. And there's a terrific article that you can find that the New York Times published today called "A New Push to Improve Mental Health Care for Homeless New Yorkers," in which the borough president is calling for these, for many of the recommendations all of the recommendations that I just went through. I just want to be super quick. So with that, I will conclude my remarks and wish everyone a very happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. If you have not gotten your COVID booster, please do it right now. I know 6 or 7 people, all who have it, and no one had the booster. So what I can tell you is it may not prevent you getting the COVID, but no one who is, I shouldn't say no one, but all the people who I know who have it have not had the booster. So please consider getting your boosters and be safe.
Thank you, Keisha. I think I see a question, but you're gonna have to come on down or we'll repeat it. Go ahead. Steve. Yeah.
Keisha, does the borough president's report address the fact that the New York Presbyterian has yet to reinstate the 30 psych beds at the Allen Hospital?
If you didn't catch that, the question is that does the MBPO report capture that the 30 beds from NYP have not opened in terms of the psych beds at New York Presbyterian Hospital?
I don't know that detail. That's a great question. I'm not sure about that detail because I don't recall. I read it when it was, a little earlier in its process, but I have not seen it literally as of today. So I'm not sure about that detail, but I can certainly get back to you.
Okay, thank you, Keisha. Steve,
was that Steve Simon?
Yes, it is Steve Simon.
Hi, Steve.
I think if I could just add, he's been waiting 3 years for these beds to be reinstated. The hospital has finally said that they plan to reinstate them, but will not tell us when it's going to happen and how many beds will actually be reinstated at the Allen Hospital. So we would appreciate the borough president's support to push that issue.
Did Zoom hear that?
I think so. Appreciate the borough president's report, including the 30 beds at New York Presbyterian and how necessary that is. Is that
It's been 3 years and waiting to know the when and the where and the how. Even though we've heard that they will reopen, but we just don't know the details. So we'd appreciate any report back in terms of that.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. All right. I think that takes care. Thank you so much, Keisha, for joining us. I know y'all are hopping from event to an event. So thank you so much. We're going to move on to our annual elections. And so off to our committee, and I will move. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. And good evening, everyone. We're here in the most anticipated time of the year, our board elections. So before we start, I just want to thank the rest of the nominating committee. They took their time out, contributed, gave feedback, and did a lot of the legwork for this. So Carmen, Anthony, and Danny, thank you guys for making this a very smooth process. I also want to thank Nobles and Daryl, who is in here. I've been under them in the past as a committee member, and a lot of the way I ran and a lot of the ways we did things mirrored how they set the process out for us. So thank you, Nobles. All right. So before we start the process, we still don't have any candidate for secretary or assistant secretary. So at this time, we're going to open up the floor one last time for nominations for secretary and assistant secretary only. We have anyone to be part of our illustrious executive board? Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Oh, yeah. Anybody else? I just want to give a heads up. So if we don't have anybody filling the position during the elections, every month moving forward, we'll have special elections until we fill it. Until then, the executive board kind of does the legwork. So yeah, Steve. She never agreed. She wanted to think about it, but she never confirmed. So yeah, we still don't have anybody. Who? I don't think she is. I don't see her. No, she not. Yes. No. Barbara, do you accept the nomination? Barbara, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Wait, are you talking about me? No,
Yes.
no. I'm not able to do it. I wasn't so great this year. I actually owe a couple of minutes, and my health doesn't permit me to. I'm just not able to. My health doesn't permit me. I was actually hold on.
No worries, Barbara. Thank you for your service this past year.
I know.
And we hope you feel better.
Yeah.
So we're just yes. Yeah, so Secretary, your support to the executive committee. I know Kathy's wanted to revamp it a bit, but you're taking meeting minutes, holding roll call and attendance for the most part. But I know that Kathy wanted to have the secretary and assistant secretary do some outreach within the board. So just to check up on other board members and whatnot. So, all right, guys. So I guess we'll close it, and then in January we'll have the special elections as we move forward. All right. So going into it, we'll have Anthony and Carmen moderate the questions that we have for the candidates. They'll break down the rules, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Leo. Good evening, Community Board 12 Manhattan. Tonight, we will vote for the new officers whose term will take place from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. In order to ensure an efficient process, the nominating committee has agreed on the following rules. The nominating committee will ask each candidate 2 questions related to the position that they are running for. The candidate will have up to 2 minutes to answer each question. Following the candidate's answer, members of the board may ask only clarifying questions. Candidates have received these questions in advance to tonight's meeting. For candidates who are not present here tonight, the nominating committee asks those candidates to provide their responses to each question over email. Those questions and responses will be read aloud for the board's consideration and for the record. Once all the candidates have answered their questions, a link to an electric ballot will be made available. Paper ballots are also available by request, but we will only be passing those out only after every candidate has had an opportunity to speak. The ballot is only available to those members who are present in person or have been approved to attend this meeting remotely. The electronic ballot will be opened approximately 15 minutes after for 15 minutes following the answers. Those with paper ballots will be expected to hand in their ballots within 15 minutes following the close of the Q&A as well. And now I'll turn it over to Carmen to begin the question and answer section.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start with asking questions to our treasurer. The incumbent is Michelle Lee. And welcome. Join me.
Can I share the mic with you?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely, for sure. And the question for the treasurer is, what financial management strategies do you propose to ensure transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility in handling the community board's budget and resources?
Thank you, Carmen. So can you guys hear me okay on Zoom? Okay. So my name is Michelle Lee. I'm the current treasurer. For the past year, I've given reports every month to the executive committee, and they summarize the Crystal report, which summarizes our CB12 budget. For those of you who aren't in those meetings, what it looks like is I tell folks how to read the report. I tell folks how far we are into the fiscal year, and I really highlight the month over month changes. So it gives people context to understand like what we've liquidated this month compared to last month. And transparency is really important to me. I think that I work with Ebenezer every month to understand the month over month changes and really explain that to the rest of the executive committee. Folks will ask questions to myself and Ebenezer during that time. So that really helps with the transparency piece. And the staff usually have more context about the expenses, and I really want to work collaboratively with them as partners. I think that's really important to have that working relationship. I think in terms of things that we can do to improve, there are definitely like fancier ways that we can visualize this data. One of the ways would be to see how much we've spent of our budget, and like say we've spent like 39% of, say we're 39% through the fiscal year, but we've only liquidated 31% of the budget. That means we're kind of behind in where we would be spending. Another option would be to see how much we liquidate each month and project out to figure out, okay, where do we think we're going to be by the end of the fiscal year? And that kind of helps us figure out our surplus. We generally don't have a ton of surplus, but I think the issue is we don't really have a lot of ideas about what to do with the surplus. So an idea that I had was to start planning earlier, sending out a Google form to help members understand what the estimated surplus is and to generate ideas for how we could spend it. So yeah, thank you. Any questions?
That was perfect. Thank you. That was right on time. Thank you so much, Michelle. Now we all have, thank you. We have the opportunity to ask clarifying questions only, not your own questions of anything that Michelle has actually said. Does anyone in the room have any clarifying questions? Noble.
Amazingly, my only question was, how are you going to do that? And you answered that in your last 5 seconds. My question is, when they answer them, when the things that get into that Google form, how do you go about getting those things?
Do you mean entering it into the Google form?
Open form? Like, would it be like an open format where you type it in what you want, which is not necessarily scalable, or are there going to be preconceived choices?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we could do a little bit of both. Like if folks have ideas, there can be a period where they can like share them with us, and then we can then kind of collate the ones that are most popular and like put it back out to the board.
Cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The spending surplus, the surplus, I think you said it, but just the definition of how you're defining what the surplus is.
Yeah. So we have a certain amount of budget every fiscal year, and if we don't spend it, it doesn't come back the next fiscal year. So something we've spent in the past, for example, on is those design templates, the service design templates. So yep.
As you pointed out, since not everyone attends the executive committee meetings and doesn't have the benefit. What? Leave it here? Okay. And then so not all the members have the benefit of hearing your monthly reports. Do you think it would be feasible to circulate a quarterly report to the whole board?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea, Steve. I think sometimes I'm not really sure what the interest is outside of the executive committee, but if there's interest amongst the rest of the board, I'd be open to that.
Okay, we're going to take one more question for the sake of time, and that question is on Zoom. Marielle, if you can just unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Thanks, Carmen. Sorry, it's not necessarily a question for Michelle, but I stepped away for a minute, so I wasn't sure. I just wanted to get some clarity on the nominating process this evening if we don't have quorum tonight, and unless quorum is now met, I'm not sure.
We have quorum now.
Okay, yeah, I don't think there was an announcement, or maybe I missed it, but thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome. So now we're going to close the questions for Michelle.
Apologies. So one point of clarification from what I read earlier, we actually do not have paper ballots printed out. Oh, we do. Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Michelle, for answering those questions for us. We're now going to move to our second vice chair questions. The incumbent is Darryl Cochran, and he is not here with us today. So he has sent in his response in advance, and I will read that for everyone this evening. I'll start off with the question. The questions were, can you share your ideas on promoting community involvement and participation in board activities, especially among underrepresented groups? And the answer to that question was, I would like to contribute to the executive committee by supporting the chair and other roles through a strategic partnership and cooperative effort to improve board function and allow for the streamlining of meetings with greater substantive dialogue. In the 7+ years I've been on the board, I strive to bring together those with differing opinions, as well as to uplift those voices who may go unheard, both on the board and in the community. The second question, thinking about your time on the community board, what skills have you acquired that will best assist your performance as second vice chair? And the response to that question was, I have served in many different roles on the board, assistant chair of a committee, chair, second vice chair, and others. Much will be happening in the coming years in the community and on the board. I believe I can contribute positively to help actualize that change for the better. Unfortunately, Daryl is not with us today, so we cannot ask him any follow-up questions. So I just ask that you just take his responses for consideration in voting tonight. Now we're going to move forward to first vice chair. No, okay. And the incumbent is Marie Hernandez. She's also not with us this evening, and she has sent in her responses to the questions. I will start off by reading the questions and then also her answers. The first question, in what ways do you envision supporting the chair and contributing to the overall leadership of the executive committee to achieve the community board's goals? The response to that was to contribute to the executive board and help achieve community board goals. I'd focus on leveraging my unique skills and expertise, fostering effective communication, engaging in strategic thinking, and promoting collaboration. I'd also prioritize community engagement, innovative problem solving, and ethical leadership, while ensuring commitment and adaptability to address the community's evolving needs. I will continue to support the chair with setting up structures to aid the work of the board and facilitate the daily task of the staff. I hope to assist with hosting community events to engage the public, bring awareness to the board, and highlight us as a resource of information. The second question was, how have you engaged with community members to gather their input and ensure their perspectives are considered in the decision-making processes? And the answer to that question was, I have reached out to members individually and fostered one-on-one relationships. This approach has enabled me to gain insight to members' thought process and what they hope to gain and contribute to the board. Again, like I mentioned, unfortunately, Maria is not with us this evening, so you will not be able to ask any follow-up questions. I encourage you to use her responses for consideration in your voting. And now we've come to the chair portion, our wonderful chair and incumbent, Kathy. Kathy, if you want to join us up here, please. Yes, I will ask you some questions and you have 2 minutes to answer. You have time, please. Yep. Thank you. Our first question is, how have you ensured that the community board effectively addresses the diverse needs and concerns of residents across different neighborhoods within our community district?
Thank you, Carmen. So there's been both internal and external. I'll start with the internal, and that's part of the responsibility around board assignments. And it's quite a tricky dance, right? Making sure that we not only have diverse identities across our committees, but also having geographical distribution in our committees that are able to speak to the different issues and concerns that we have. For example, parks, right? If you're by 166 or if we only have an Inwood concentration, it's really hard to understand what happens maybe at J Hood on 175th. Second to that, I would say, is also working with our committee chairs to better map out the year, to be able to have a broader spectrum of concerns represented at the committee level, right? We really only discuss most things at the committee level. So it's super important not only that you have obviously members that speak to it, but that we also have more one-on-ones with committee chairs in terms of being able to properly map out across the district and representative across the many communities that exist within the district. Okay, and then for the last 20 seconds, I would say is also, of course, as I said earlier, around really engagement, right? Being able as chair to attend more community events, which is part of my commitment for 2024, being outside, hosting more of our quarterly community networking events so that people know that we exist. And also on the internal is being able to better support the office in terms of streamlining inquiries so that we're able to better track where the concerns and issues are coming across, right? Where do we need to have that new staff hire focus more on if we're only hearing, let's say, from the Southern District?
That's time. Thank you, Kathy. I'll ask our second question and then I'll open it up for clarifying questions. Our second question is, can you outline your strategy for fostering collaboration and open communication among the executive committee members to ensure cohesiveness throughout the committees? So for example, standards of practice and decision-making processes.
Thank you. So standards of practice has been one of the big things that I have tried to build a foundation on in this year. There is a very little set that I would say is scalable for the future of the board. So for example, being able to build a guide for committee chairs is something that I've been kind of like pulling from different committees, committee chairs specifically, who are represented on an executive committee to be able to build. Part of that is also shifting the ownership of that, right? So, you know, being able to have collaborative ways of working where they're able to throw on their own ideas on a Google Doc, for example. Part of that means being, you know, we're in this hybrid space. What works? What doesn't? Where are the different levels of knowledge that you need? And how do we draft that? So a lot of that is writing, a lot of boring work for some people. But being able to do that collectively is part of my commitment in 2024. So that more folks are able to be part of the process of shaping it and writing it in a way that it works for future chairs, because we're all not going to be here for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Another key piece has been the annual member survey. That was an area that I felt that like there's never been, you know, it shouldn't just fall on the rapport and the openness and the transparency maybe that one speaks, but being able to have something that is, you know, an unbiased method, a streamlined way, like a survey that folks are able to contribute, that we're able to work with committee chairs. And again, the focus of that is to be able to provide more concrete feedback in terms of, you know, how do we strengthen our committees? How do we strengthen the board as a whole, and what that experience looks like both for members and also for members of the public who are watching or attending our meetings. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Kathy. Do we have any clarifying questions from the audience? Going once, going twice. Clarifying questions only, no new questions. So anything of what Kathy has answered to, yes. Anything that she commented on, anything that was included in her answer. Not a new question.
Would be such a good chair.
That is not. The question, no, that's not a clarifying question. The question was, how do you manage to be a good chair? But that was not a clarifying question. Any other questions before I open it up to the Zoom?
Quick question. Thank you. Quick question. Could you say for us what your in-person policy will be for 2024 when it comes to committee meetings and also general meetings?
You can answer that. You can answer that.
What a topic, Nobles. We have actually spoken about this at the last 3 executives, right? Because executive committee, part of the shift, and that comes from member ourselves, of being able to make it a space to share best practices, not just repeat back what happened at your committee. So really being able to take advantage of the time we're there. In terms of in-person policy, one, we have to comply with open meeting law, meaning a quorum of the committee needs to be in person. So what that means for us is that, one, that is the main thing. And then 2, what do we do from there? Recognizing that we're all volunteers. So for example, being able to communicate extensively with members who are not coming in person and who just hop on a Zoom. And so part of those changes mean we're limiting, for example, the Zoom links that get distributed, because we're really trying to measure and understand where and when and how folks are joining on the Zoom, right? Is it that, oh, I got the Zoom link, so I thought I could join the Zoom link? Or is it that, oh, I had an emergency and then I hopped on. So the second thing part of that I have limited time. So I'm checking in with all the committee chairs and last but not least, looking at assignments. The biggest thing, we have people who have business before our committees and are not able to vote, and we cannot risk that. And so if that means that you need to be de-assigned, if that's a word, or unassigned, excuse me, from a committee and assigned elsewhere, or your assignment is pending, then that's unfortunately something we're going to have to go into.
Thank you, Kathy. Do we have another question? Luana?
I know, not so close. I'm loud enough. So, yes, I second the motion, Steve, but along those same lines, can you also speak to wow. Oh, it had to be Domingo. So in terms of, I want to ask a question in terms of, even though we are volunteers and we apply and there's a thorough application process, and my understanding is that the borough president, as it pertains to Manhattan, right, they get hundreds of applications. Can you speak to how moving forward we're going to be observing the dedication of board meetings in terms of, in my observation, people who are excessively absent, and that could be the space for somebody that really wants to do the work for this community. So can you speak to maybe a standardized protocol of absences, lack of participation, lack of compliance in terms of turning in documentation? Can you speak to that, please? Thank you.
Okay, accepted. Our current bylaws protects us or has rules in place for that, right? So if you are excessively absent, the board can vote to remove someone, and we make that recommendation to Manhattan Borough President's Office. So part of what now, because the last few months we've been short on staff, is that actually the office staff is going to really be looking at what are the trends of member absences. So is somebody just not coming at all? They are MIA, because right, there's a circumstance of somebody who's MIA for 6 months. There's somebody who has, maybe they're working like crazy and can't make it at all. And maybe what they need is a committee assignment. Or are there other issues that impede somebody from attending, or maybe their own lack of communication? So part of what we're doing is trying to map that out better and be able to identify who are the folks that are egregiously absent and affecting committee business versus someone that maybe just needs that one-on-one. In the case that it's not that one-on-one, again, I understand. I completely empathize. It's hard. It is winter. To come to a meeting for 2 people in a room is really demoralizing. So what are the ways, whether it's by appointing a public member, whether by unassigning members and reassigning members, that we can improve the attendance in person so that it's actually a full and comprehensive experience, why many of us sign up for the board.
Thank you, Kathy. We can only do 2 more questions. Nobles, I saw your hands first. Oh, okay, go ahead. Oh, I didn't even see.
My question is for the parliamentarian. In the absence of contested elections and contested races, would a motion to accept these candidates by acclamation be acceptable?
It's probably best to actually have a vote. And I wanted to mention something anyway, although I'm probably anticipating what the nominating committee will be telling you. And that is, people have we have a private ballot, so everything becomes available tomorrow at the board office, but all the information of who voted for whom precisely. But we give people the privacy during voting, so they can actually vote against people, even if, we only have single candidates. And the thing I wanted to remind everyone for is, and I personally would be voting for all of the candidates, but that's not the point. The point is we have to give people the opportunity in private, at least tonight, not to vote for a particular candidate if they're less than happy, and not voting for someone, that may actually say, please work harder. But I think it would probably be best to do that. And the acclamation thing, again, you're sort of putting group pressure on individuals. And, insofar as there are, even a handful of people who want to indicate that they're not totally crazy about, they want you to do a better job, I think we really need to give them that opportunity. That's my view.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions, Nobles?
Shout out to Nomcom. Shout out to Joel. Thank you so much, you guys. Excellent job. Very professional. Very good. Last question, I promise. When it comes as a 2.5-year secretary on the executive committee and my 6-year tenure on this board, secretary always seems to be a challenge for us to get. Shout out to Michelle on the treasury when it comes to surplus. Hey, are there any ideas that you have to make that not an issue anymore? If we have a surplus, is it free dinners when you show up to do the minutes? Like, are there any ways that we can actually get a good secretary that sees it as a jump off opportunity on this board? And are there any incentives that we can probably put to it within the legal obligation that we can do?
Thank you. I'll let Kathy answer that. Kathy,
Right.
you have 1 minute.
I only got a minute, so I'm going to try to squeeze it in. Number one, and I think this isn't exempt just the secretary. I think it's all, there's a certain number or amount of time of work willing to do outside of meetings, right? So secretary role includes that. 2, we all do a lot of what some people call grunt work. I don't think it's grunt work. I think it's learning work. I think it's really valuable and insightful, meaning minutes. I've done minutes. I remember when Angel was first vice chair, Marie does minutes. We spend a lot of time creating templates. So if you like being on a Word doc, if you don't mind drafting, then that's a great role. But there's always some portion of it that has to be done. 3, I would say, is that secretary is actually a really malleable role. Part of secretary role is making sure, I think personally, is that they're supporting and that the health of the board, that the body of the board is functioning, right? That doesn't mean just minutes. You can do minutes now. Can you use tools to do that? Like somebody said last month around ChatGPT and AI and other technologies that can assist you. Perhaps, right? Part of that is being able to present minutes anyway that the board supports. But I think if you're willing to do or take time outside of the meetings to draft quick summaries and support maybe in the health of the body, checking in, like, I haven't seen somebody in a while, they're doing okay, they're alive, they are healthy, they're happy, they're good, or birthday shout outs, right? We have a lot of birthdays every month. Or supporting the Meet the Board events or social functions. So I think both roles of secretaries and assistant secretaries are really just a function of what is that person willing to take on and not take on. If they're willing to do a lot, then I think the sky is high.
Thank you. And I'm just going to ask one more time for Zoom, if there's any questions. I don't see any. Okay, so now we've concluded the portion of our questions and answers. Thank you to all the candidates for providing their answers and for taking the time. We are going to move forward to the ballots, and I'm going to hand it over.
Roll call first. So we're
Okay.
gonna take attendance to make sure that we distribute the ballots to everybody eligible or in person.
And Danny will do that roll call.
Joel Abreu. Just say here.
Here.
Alvin Adamas. Richard Allman. Mary Anderson. Jay Baez. James Berlin.
Here.
Daniel Bonilla. Here. Hector Bonilla. We'll call him later. James Bosley. Noble Crawford. Robin Cruz.
Present.
Catherine Diaz. Domingo Esteves. Luana Ferreira. Barbara Frazier.
Here.
Tanisha Grant.
Here.
Heidi Guzman. Jody Hirson. Leopold Jimenez. Joseph Kalinsky. OC Kaminer. Michelle Lee. Alexis Marno. Tracy McNeil. Isidro Medina. Hannah Nay. Carmen Paulino.
Here.
India Porta.
Here.
Bruce Robertson. Steve Simon. Carl Unebu. Unebu. Anthony Viola. Thank you.
All right, so at this moment, to everybody that confirmed their attendance, we'll be sending out the electronic ballot. No, we got married.
We did.
We did marry.
My name wasn't called. This is Marielle Ali.
I'm sorry, Marielle Ali. You're
All
here.
good. Thank you.
We got
Thank you.
All right, so at this moment, we're gonna send out the electronic ballots. Does anybody in person need a paper ballot for any reason? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, sounds good.
Keep your hand.
Okay.
Keep your hands up.
Yeah, just keep your hands up.
Paper ballot.
As for the Zoom, we'll be emailing you guys, so you should be receiving the email in the next minute or so. We have 15 minutes to vote, so I'll give an update, but by 8:26, we're closing the ballots, and I have sent it out to everyone. So Zoom, you guys should have it as well, and we'll announce the election results at the end of the meeting. Give a paper. If online, if you have not received the Zoom electronic ballot, please just raise your hand or let me know so we can make sure that you received it. Jacob, I see you have a question in your hand raised.
Yeah, my name wasn't called either. And I'm normally there, but I'm ill tonight. I thought that was a valid reason to be online. Spare you all my presence.
So I believe you're eligible according to the chair. I sent you one as well, so you should be receiving a ballot. Again, anyone online who hasn't received that is eligible, please let me know.
Can we just make a quick announcement?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
so, yeah. Yeah, so the question from the in-person group is whether this is an anonymous ballot. It is not. It is a requirement to put your name. You can, tonight, your vote is private, but as our parliamentarian has already pointed out, it will be available to the record tomorrow in the board office. So it will be available who voted for who. And we will be verifying by email as well.
I didn't get a ballot. Oh, I got it. It came to my spam. I've got it.
You can put your name anywhere on the paper.
Yeah.
Top preferably.
Okay.
What's the question, Steve? Not, we're looking. Give us a moment. It shouldn't be required. You should be able to submit without selecting it. It's required.
We do not have any more paper ballots. So if those of you who requested a paper ballot, if you can please go online on your cell phones, you can submit your votes online. If you need Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi can connect to is called Guest, and you do not need a password. Can I have a moment, everyone? Can I have a moment, please? For those of you who are completing the survey online and voting online, please note that for the secretary and assistant secretary, You do have to select abstain in order to submit your vote. That's for online. Because otherwise it may not go through. Thank you, Nobles.
Can you email my?
Thank you, Joel.
Oh. Is it possible if you can email my ballot to a different email?
You want
mine went to spam. Check your spam.
Luis, you want to write in the chat what other email you want us to send it to?
Sure.
Wait a minute. P-A-U-L-I-N. P what? P-A-U-L-I-N. N-O. Oh. Oh. Just O right here. No. N-O. Leo, I need your assistance here, please. Thank you. Luis, can you let me know if you received it or if you sent the email in the chat? Can we say that word? We need to can we send it to this email? Okay. And we're gonna close it at 8:30?
8:27.
Okay.
That's what we're starting.
For the record, everyone, we are gonna be closing the ballots at 8:27 p.m. So you have about 10 more minutes to vote.
I would suggest, I don't know if you can hear me, that if there are individuals who haven't gotten their ballot yet electronically, for those people, it would be appropriate to extend the time until we get, until everyone gets a ballot.
Yes, Jim, we will do that.
Very good. I figured you would do that, but
thank you.
Thank you.
You got it?
And let me just comment. This is a magnificently well-run election. It's just almost like
Thank you. We take all the compliments.
makes my parliamentarian heart very happy.
Thank you, Jim.
No election interference over here.
Can you confirm you received my ballot, Barbara Frazier?
Barbara will confirm in a second.
Okay. It should have come in on the Survey Monkey.
Yes. All right. Jacob and Luis, I sent you guys, so you guys should have received it. Give me a thumbs up. Cool. Perfect.
Is there anyone else that's having issues submitting their votes online?
For some reason, I haven't received the ballot.
We sent it to the new address, Luis.
Tell them to check his spam now, just in case, but I sent it to Luis.
Please check your spam. Jacob, did you receive yours? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Victor, thank you so much for your interest. Unfortunately, you are not able to vote. This is just for community board members.
Got it. Thanks.
You should apply to the community board. And then you can vote. Abstain.
Let me make just one more gratuitous comment, which you probably already figured out too. If someone doesn't click abstain or on a line where there's a choice, you know, if they don't click either the person or abstain, they in fact have abstained. So, but the abstain button is very important. It makes it clear that that's what you can do. But in fact, if you don't vote for the individual and don't click on abstain on a line that has an individual, you in fact have abstained. De facto.
Thank you, Jim. Jim has clarified for us that if you did not click abstain on the ballot, and you don't write anything at all, you have in fact abstained.
Thank you.
So no vote counts as an abstention. Thank you, Jim. Luis, did you receive it? Great.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hector, did you receive it? I know you have stepped out. Did you receive the ballot? No? We're voting. Yes. Yeah. Send another email. For those of you that are online, we have about 5 minutes left. And for those of you who are having issues, you have 8 minutes left.
Yes. To come in the interest of time.
Yes.
So I'll keep this.
Wonderful. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I'm gonna say something real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we'll touch up, but at 8:30, we're not accepting any more electronic ballots. So if you haven't submitted by 8:30, your vote won't count. So if you're having issues, please let myself, Anthony, Carmen, or Danny know, especially Zoom, so that we can help facilitate. While we're taking care of this on the back end, we're gonna pass it over to Isidro, who has some reports on the licensing committee.
Thank you so much, Leo. And I guess I'm going to miss you in case we have any questions. But in essence, the license committee met last Wednesday, and we produced the minutes and the resolutions on time. Thank you, Anthony, for your help in sending the minutes like really, really early. The resolutions were sent in, no issues. If you check the agenda item number 6, with that particular application did not pass, it was practically a tie, 3-3, and because they did not get the majority of the vote, it didn't pass. As far as some of them, they were withdrawn either prior to the meeting or at the meeting because either the rep or owner were not there, and or they lack some of the application requirements. Also, some other items that you might have some questions. Agenda item number 14, along with agenda item number 6, there was a resident that was complaining about double parking issues. And we tried to come with some agreement with the owners of those establishments, and we set out anywhere from 3 to 5 steps to make sure that the double parking issues was addressed. On those particular items, we asked for no double parking sign. Also a number of phone numbers of someone in charge or a manager in case there are some issues, that those issues can be rectified right then and then. Finally, I would like to thank the chair for pulling up and asking the 34 precinct to show up. They finally showed up. Very little contribution though, because there was no intel provided. There was practically no objection in all the applications. On that note, I'm going to end and I'm going to open up the floor for questions. I guess I'll go first in person. Steve.
First of all, in three of the items, there's an indication that the owners are supposed to provide you with proof that your person is now limiters. Is that something in the 3 days?
Thank you so much, Steve. The question is that some applicants were required to submit a copy of purchase of a sound limiters. I'm going to defer that to the chair and the DM because I received notice of one, but I am informed that all 3 of the requested sound limiters were actually introduced to the board staff. Madam Chair, was that the case?
The only exception that I can confirm was a I would say we can vote contingent on that, and then the office can confirm so that was a
So 14 produced a copy. They produced a copy of a sound limiter. And so I guess, Madam Chair, that since we don't have proof for agenda item number 8, are we turning that into a negative?
No, I say we vote based contingent on it. Does that work?
Okay.
Is that what we do then?
In essence, no. If it's not, we don't have the proof by 5 o'clock, it means that we will turn this applicant
No,
against
I'm
it.
saying I can't confirm.
You can't confirm
At this time. I
at this
can't
time.
confirm. So that's what I'm saying. So is people vote. It's not really a motion. I'm asking precedence.
Yeah,
Is there any way we can confirm that now? Or no?
well,
We don't have access?
I guess we can take a minute. We'll pause that on that question, Steve, if it's okay with you.
Second question. In various cases here, residents are complaining about loud noise. I'm wondering if that noise is coming from live or recorded music emanating from these establishments. And I'm wondering in that case, whether or not the committee, especially when people are coming to you and asking for a change in the method of operation, whether or not you ask them to cut off the music at like at midnight, so it doesn't run until 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
That's something that we can consider in the future. However, when we do have noise complaints, we ask specific about sound limiter because that should prohibit loud noise from emanating from the establishment. The sound limiter, if in place, should take care of these problems. There are issues also when the establishments have like open doors and windows. We can ask for that as well. Joel.
Just to quickly mention also,
that just also mention, Steve,
Sí,
specifically with the method of operation applicant, we heavily considered his opinion, and which is why it was turned down, that application for the method of operation.
Now, no problem is supposed to allow you to ask questions.
No, it's on.
So, I'm sorry. Questions about this committee are only reserved for board members. If you have some inquiries, you and I can meet later on if you want. Are there any questions on the floor? Online, do you have any questions online? We're going to pause for a while we find out if agenda item number 8, if they submitted the sound limiter proof or not. Usually, Ebenezer, you will send us a copy of the receipt. You have not check to see, does it sound familiar, esta bonita, agenda item number 8?
No, it's in.
That is what? So I would not want to set a precedence where if we do not receive something that we're going to change, and I would not call for that. I guess I'll say I have the support of the committee.
Yeah, I would agree.
So we're going to turn agenda item number 8 into a negative. So we objecting to agenda item number 8. Yes, yes. So the committee approved at the committee level, but because they did not submit, or we don't have proof of it, then we're going to change it to a negative. Domingo.
I've seen chairs licensing, like for instance, if something was missing and it might have been erroneous, because you know, like I think the chair has.
I believe that.
Specific.
Yeah.
Specific.
Yeah. I believe.
Aurelia was a representative.
Yeah. You want to say something about? Yes, please.
Just to quickly note, it's now past 8:30, so the ballot is closed for voting.
So on that note, I'm going to recommend as chair that if we do find the receipt of this establishment, the chair will have to make the decision to change the vote if that message was sent on time. If it doesn't, if we cannot find the note, it's going to stay negative. Would that be something that we agree with the committee members? All right, so
basically, objecting to the application.
Correct.
So fine.
Right.
I don't give them committee to give approval outside.
No, no, I would have to rectify it.
Yeah.
Not the committee, chair of the board.
Chair of the board, Madam Chair will have that power. Yeah.
That's true. I think it's not sometimes, but often not. And not mistaken, like I see it, but all the songs there is a gym. Differently if the item was filed.
I see Jim Berlin. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you. I think you're talking about the same thing we were just talking about, where we don't have some documentation, but we're not positive. And so essentially what you're saying is, and we could actually write it down, but I don't think we have to. What you're saying inherent in the resolution itself is if in fact we're voting for this resolution, and inherent in our vote is if in fact the facts are other than what we thought, and in fact the document was received on time, we will reverse this, basically because it's the just thing to do, and that's inherent in our votes, and we've just sort of memorialized that because it's in the recording, and it could be in the minutes, so that's inherent in the vote we're going to take. That makes it clearer, I think.
Thank you, Jim. So for now, the chair has not found the document, and she would have been the one to have received it. So we're going to reverse agenda item number 8 into negative. Thank you all.
Good. Yeah.
The only reason why I'm asking about this is because I want to blueprint this for the mayor for cannabis task force. And if we were able to say that the chair of the board can overturn basically or not, that's what after. I just want to know, like, just want some clarity, because honestly, like, I'm super effective in this point.
I guess that since we are the members of the committees are here, if the members agree that this will be the process to follow and there'll be no objection, I guess the chair will have that decision to make, and it has been done before.
So sorry to interrupt, but can you please recap what the question was? We're having trouble hearing the questions being asked.
So the question was related to agenda item number 8. That particular applicant was supposed to submit some documents as required by the committee. By 5 o'clock PM on Friday, those documents were not received. And as chair of the committee, I consistently have reversed the vote of the committee. That particular applicant was voted in or in favor, but because they did not submit all those documents on time, we are reversing the decision of the committee to an objection.
Thank you.
Osi. Osi.
Just want to remind everyone that this is not the end of the process. Applicants that did not like the resolution we are voting on today, if it's a negative, can come back next month and the following month after that with changes to their application in order to get a favorite resolution, meaning a positive resolution. So it's never the end of the process. There is no limitation by the SLA as to how many times an applicant can show up before the licensing committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Osi. Domingo.
It's not, the problem wasn't the applicant, the problem was that the office did not know if the item was received or not. So why reprimand the applicant when the problem is the office not understanding? So they, like, what we're saying is we can't be punitive towards somebody that didn't do anything because we don't know if they submitted it or not. So there should be a process that also takes into account, like Isidro said, like, hey, look, they, just to be clear, I can care less of the, like, I don't know the applicant. They did not receive it, but the initial reason why we're having this conversation is because the minister said that he didn't know if it was received or not. So that's why we're engaging in this conversation, not to sort of create a precedent. It was not, it was just, there was a miscommunication between the office and what was received. So in order not to be reprimanded somebody that did due diligence, we're saying there could be a buffer that gave that person that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it.
Yeah, thank you. And that both will be the discretion of the chair, the board chair.
So I'm sorry, really quick. I thought it was, if we actually find out that we did receive, the office received the paperwork before tonight's vote, then the chair can change the vote contingent upon the receiving or the proof that we received before tonight.
Yes.
Now, what we're saying is different because what I thought I heard before was it was supposed to be received, wasn't received by tonight, so we're voting in the objection of it.
No.
And that's the end of it. If that's the case, there's no issue. If it was the opposite, it was the former, then there would be a precedent setting matter that I need to know for candidates.
Because of the staff members were out, we're facing some tough issues where the board chair perhaps has not received said document or letters. We're going to be prudent and allow the chair to explore this a little bit. If she does find the letter, she can have that power and she'll reverse it.
So it is a post. If it is here before today's meeting, then it can be reversed, which I'm actually cool with because they've got it before. We're voting on and not getting it.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but we people on Zoom cannot hear a thing. You really have to pass the microphone around or people have to come to the front because, you know, we remote people actually have the same rights that you people in the room have. Thank you.
Domingo, please. Okay, hold on. This is an important debate, but I don't think we need to get into all of it right now because it seems like we're talking about the what ifs and precedent. And that can be something that if we want to put it in bylaws, we can, or put it in practice and clear for everyone, we can. Right now, what's most important is to clarify what we are about to vote on when it comes to number 8. So for number 8, we are currently in opposition because at this time, number 8, right, Isla Bonita, it's stated as no objection. It is now an objection. Why? Because the inbox where folks are supposed to submit the proof of sound limiter, Isla Bonita is not there. Okay? It is an objection. In summer, I just checked the junk email. It ain't in there either. So I don't know if there somehow it went to someone else's. We will figure that out. But at this time, it is an objection.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Isla Bonita is not in the inbox. We went through the junk email. There's only one inbox where all applicants this month, because of because we did not have staff, have been communicating, and it's not there. And I know also Ebenezer checked his personal inbox in case somebody sent it there, and it is not there. Right, we did not know, and then I logged in to make sure. All right, we're good. Cool. A is an objection. So, we're gonna repeat back into the mic for the safety of time because it's 8:40 and I had hoped we would be done by 8:40. Michelle got roll call. No, we'll repeat it back because we're not be able to run around. All right. We're gonna start again. We're gonna please be loud and we will repeat back in the mic. State your yeses, your nos, objections and conflicts, or abstentions and conflicts, excuse me. Joel? Alvin, Adamas? Yes to all. By Alvin, Jumina is excused. Mary L is on Zoom. Mary L, we will come back to you.
Oh, sorry. Yes to all.
Go ahead. Yes to all. Richard Alman. Yes to all by Richard Alman. Jay Baez. No, Mary Anderson. Okay. 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 So Mary's abstaining because of issues with the sound in the room at this time. We're gonna go forward and see if we can resolve that. Jay Baez. Okay, yes to all. Jacob Banis.
Yes to all.
Radia's not. Yes, she is. Sorry.
to all.
Yes to all. Who's that? Wow. No, not here. Wayne is not here. Jim Berlin.
No on number 14, yes to everything else.
Thank you, Jim Berlin. Daniel Bonilla. Yes to all, Daniel. Hector Bonilla. Yes to all, James Bosley. Yes to all, Eliasar is not present. Daryl's not present. Nobles. Yes to all, Luis Cruz.
Yes to all.
Yes to all, Luis. Robin Cruz. One, 4, and 16 is a no. And 13. 6 and 13, excuse me. 1, 4, 6, and 13. And then yes to the rest. All right. I go last. Mencita's not here. Domingo. Domingo, yes to all. Luana. Yes to all. Barbara. Barbara next. Tanisha.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Heidi. Yes to all. See Marina here. Jody. Jody Houston. Yes to all. Miriam's not here. Leo. Leo, your vote. Yes to all for Leo. Joseph. Joseph was in the back with his laptop and no. Okay. OC. Number 14, yes to the rest. OC. Michelle.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Liz is absent, excused. Alexis. Yes to all. Emily is excused. Jay, obviously excused. Tracy. Yes to all. Isidro. Okay. Isidro's conflict for 4 and 16, and then yes to the rest. And wow, I need my class. Debbie's excused. Hannah. Hannah, yes to all. Jonathan's absent. Carmen. Yes to all. Indiana. Indiana will come back.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Thank you. Bruce in the back. Yes to all. Bruce. Steve Simon. All right. 1, 2, and 14 for Steve Simon is an abstention, and then yes to the rest. Carl Negbu. Yes to all. Anthony. Yes to all. I vote yes to all. Is there anyone that I missed on Zoom, one person? All right, I think we have everyone. All right, Leo's waiting for the results from the chairs as I asked earlier. It's holiday end of year treat. Let's refer the minutes. Let's connect with folks at the beginning of the month, but I know that Steve Simon has an announcement and Luana has an announcement. If you are a chair and you want to make an announcement, raise your hand and come on down and line up behind Leo, please. If not, raise your hand on Zoom. All right, Leo, back to you. Thank you, everybody.
So once again, I just want to thank everybody, the nominating committee for the help and the contribution. Thank you guys. You guys have been great help. For the executive committee for helping. So elections, Kathy will serve a second term again unanimously.
And just so you all know, tomorrow is Kathy's birthday, so
Happy birthday.
congratulations, Kathy, and happy birthday on behalf of the nomination committee.
And see, Marie, Daryl, and Michelle will also be serving a second term with Kathy. So good luck, guys. And just one last announcement. I want to give a shout out to Domingo. This past weekend, he handed out 2,000 pennies with Uplift, this organization. So thank you for what you do for the community, my brother. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Hello. It's Nobles, right? Okay. Very quick announcement. Please refer to the minutes for parks as Madam Chair has indicated. However, I do want to make an announcement on behalf of the Jumel Mansion. I don't show for organizations, but this is of community interest that they will be having tomorrow an open forum with the directors as well as the executive director for the Historical House Trust, Meredith. They will be clarifying questions with regards to the article that was written in the Times and hopefully providing some much needed transparency and answers to questions with regards to the renovation of the mansion. So please go on their website. It's completely virtual. Register and let's hear what they have to say. Thank you. And Nobles for a podcast.
I'm just really happy to be here before Steve Simon, so I hope you brought your sleeping bags. Hey, Nobles for the Cannabis Task Force here. Just saying, next task force meeting will be on the 2nd of January. It's a Tuesday versus a Monday. Obviously, Monday is the new year, so it'll be on a Tuesday. Please come through. We might have our first retail marijuana business come in front of the board, which would be a groundbreaker. Shout out to Mary Anderson, shout out to Carmen, shout out to Simari actually showing up to our meeting in person. Always shout out to the folks that show up. Thank you so much. Tuesday in January.
As I always do, I have a report on the latest statistics on COVID-19. And the hospitalization rates in our 4 zip codes are basically in the mid-range. Zip code 40 is actually did very well for the 28-day period ending November 30th. It had minimal hospitalizations and ranked at the bottom of the list. Zip codes 32, 33, and 34 had about 11 or 13 hospitalizations per 100,000. The number of total cases now is over 70,000 in our 4 zip codes since the beginning of the pandemic, and 1,024 deaths have occurred in our district. As I mentioned before, we're going to work with the Ryan Health Center to have a van going through the station at least 4 locations in the community to give out COVID vaccines and also flu vaccines. Looks like it'll start in mid-January and then run 4 weeks in a row after that, 3 more weeks after that in four different locations. At our last meeting at December 7th, we had very good presentations from the medical director of the Comprehensive HIV Infectious Disease Clinic at New York Presbyterian and also the Cancer Services Program. I will ask the office to send out the PowerPoint presentation so you can all see them. And at our next meeting, January the 4th, we will be having a presentation on a subject which I don't believe we've delved into in all the years I've been on this board. We're going to be talking about the fact that Manhattan does not have a spay and neuter clinic. OC raised this question, and I'm also expecting to have a presentation from the New York State Nurses Association on apparently New York Presbyterian's plan now to eliminate the nurses and midwives from the Allen Hospital. So we have maybe yet another issue to contend with at the Allen. And let me just finish by asking, if you need a calendar, we have a beautiful calendar of historical photographs of Washington Heights available for sale. Please feel free to come up to me and purchase one. It's a great calendar with historical photographs of Washington Heights. Only $15. If you act now, it's only $14.99.
These a joke. All right, y'all. That is the last show that I've seen. Again, in January, after the new year, we're talking about older adults in prisons, right? And being able to support legislation so that older adults are no longer sitting in prisons for nonviolent crimes. We got cannabis dispensaries coming before us. We have City of Yes, where we will be crafting resolutions on. We have potential also charter school discussion. And so we're working on that, a new charter school potentially coming to our community. Marielle, there you go. Marielle, last one. So we got a lot coming in January. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, just refer to the minutes once they're available, and definitely strongly encourage everyone to check out the recording of our meeting earlier this month. At the Housing and Human Services, we had a presentation both from Inwood Legal Action, and I know that I spoke today during the public session, but we also had a presentation from HPD on their plan for a request for proposal for a development at 4095 9th Avenue. And so we'll be working with them to identify how they do their community outreach and what that looks like to ensure that the development that goes up is equitable and really answers a lot of the questions that we have as a community. I think one thing to look forward to add to your list, Kathy, and we'll be working very closely with the Land Use Committee, is really identifying, as kind of the number of developments continue to increase in our area, what is it that we as Community Board 12 want to see in these places? Thanks. Can anyone hear them? I think we've lost their sound.
Oh, we were saying happy belated.
Happy
Happy holidays. There were 7 or 8 second motions to adjourn. And thank you for tuning in unanimously. So thank you for tuning in and sticking around. I apologize for the sound. We're gonna do better next year.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone. Rest up in the next week.